Hey everybody, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I have a really fun and special project to share with you using Ali Edwards' Remember Story Kit. This was a project that I did a couple months ago, part of the Scrapbooking with Friends that I'm doing over on Instagram. And my friend Erica came up with a theme of if you know, you know. And I loved that idea of thinking of a story that would relate to that. So I decided to do bedtime shenanigans. And I found a ton of photos of me and the kids in the bathroom throughout the years, and it is so special to see these photos all come together and be able to tell this story of all the different bedtime shenanigans, because I really don't spend a lot of time with the kids in the bathroom anymore. That season of life is pretty much almost done. So it's nice to have this story down on paper. And like I said, I'm using the Remember Story Kit, and I did the title in the middle using a stamp set from Ali Edwards digitally. And then I just used my Cameo to cut it out. At least I think it's a digital stamp set. But either way, I cut it out from my Cameo and I put that right in the center and placed my photos around like a border. And some of the photos will, some of them are not going to have photos, and I'm going to use those spots to add in chipboard or a die cut. And I thought I was going to add in some green for this page. As you can see, I cut out a journaling card, but I'm going to take that journaling card away in just a little bit and just stick with the striped paper. So I actually start my photos up in the top left corner with my daughter, like really tiny, like only 2 weeks old, and my son covered in shaving cream. And then I just go all the way, down in chronological order for the most part, until you see the bottom photo on the right. That is my son in the bathroom, and he was like showing me his haircut or something like that. And it's just really cool that I had this many photos and that I was able to find them. So the spots that are going to have that striped paper and the chipboard and the die cuts, those are also going to have some journaling spots that I will have flipped up so I can add in all the stories about the different photos and just how crazy bedtime shenanigans have been over the last, 10 years. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I had a spot for journaling, so I just made sure that there was hidden journaling. And on top of this one down in the bottom, I have So Thankful for These Memories, and I just pop dotted that. That is a digital stamp from the kit, the Remember Story Kit, and I just added a white stroke around it. That way it would cut in one piece. And I've talked about how to do that in another how-to video. I also like to use my ruler across both pages. That way I can get things aligned, at least for the most part. And I also changed a lot of these photos to black and white because of how busy all the colors were in the bathroom, like with our shirts and just messy mirrors, and it just worked better to have a lot of the photos be black and white. I needed to adjust this photo right here, and then I added all the photos, or the last two photos, on the right hand side, but I am gonna grab one that is in color and add that in a little bit. That way that there was some balance there and it wasn't all black and white down in the bottom row. So I will fix that later on. For the striped sections, I made sure to cut out the striped section and then add it to my white paper for that hidden journaling that I was talking about. And the next step is just figuring out what I would like to add to the top of these flip ups. I also have all of those die cut stars over on the right hand side of the screen. Those are from the kit as well, and I just cut them out with my Cameo in all the different colors, and I will figure out which ones I want to use. I'll be tempted to use all of them, but like I said, I decided to not have too much green in the spread, so I'll probably just stick with the reds and the pinks. And somehow then not having that green just made it look much more Valentine's-ish, I guess, but I still think it turned out to be a beautiful project, especially because of the story. I grabbed this really old typewriter font stamp set from Ali Edwards to stamp out bedtime shenanigans. I wanted to have that across the bottom, so that way it goes along with the title. If you know, you know, bedtime shenanigans. And I'm able to fix the E. I think I was having a problem with a few of the letters. And so I'm just going to take each piece of the title that I'm stamping and just add it together. Totally started spelling shenanigans wrong, and I had to look that up. Sometimes I feel like when you're scrapbooking, you just forget the most common words and you have to look it up. I don't know. Leave a comment and let me know if that happens to you. I feel like it's just, I forget common words and I'm like, what is happening? And then I'll look it up and I'm like, oh yeah, I know that word. So I'm cutting out the different pieces that I need for the bedtime shenanigans, and then I can add them to the bottom and finish up decorating the spread with my different little stars or starbursts, whatever you want to call them, and then add in my journaling. Love how that title came together, and I'm so glad that this typewriter stamp set is holding together because it is a mess. It doesn't even want to stick to the sheet anymore. So on that bottom right striped box, I have loved this, and I will tuck a little star behind it. I'll also grab some word phrase stickers later on and add in some of those. I am adding a few of the stars to the empty spaces by the title over on the U on the left-hand side, and then over on the right-hand side. And up top where there's a striped box, I'm going to put memories and also a pink starburst behind it. And I'll add a word phrase that says sweet memories, so it kind of makes a sentence. That's another thing that I like to do sometimes with my word phrase stickers, is to make a sentence, and it's kind of fun to use them in that way. I guess I had forgotten to adhere down my title, so I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget and try to move the spread. I told you earlier that I made this title by cutting it out with my Cameo, and that's definitely one of my go-to tricks if I don't want to stamp the title, or I'm just not sure if I will mess it up, or I just want to save time, and I'll just cut it out on my Cameo and it works perfect, especially when I do that white stroke trick that I've talked about in another video. It just makes all the letters one piece and it makes it so easy, and then I can just adhere them down. Right now I'm trying to figure out if I want to add a star that's stamped to the background, and I do, and that way it also balances out some of the pink and the red, because there's a lot of that, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it kind of turned out more Valentine's colors-ish, I guess, but adding in that gray kind of balanced out a little bit of all the pinks and the reds. So I add in the starbursts, and I also pop dot a few of them, always adding in that extra dimension. So there's lots of layers in my star clusters. And then I'm just going to add in the pieces for bedtime shenanigans down at the bottom, and also grab some more of the stars, starbursts, and put them next to each end of the title. And I'll add in my loved this chipboard. I wanted to make sure I had 2 chipboards. I always like to balance it. If I have one on the left side, then I will make sure I have one on the right side. And then I added a word phrase sticker that says our story, and I just trimmed it down a little bit because it was quite a thick phrase. This is where I replaced the photo with a color one, and it also makes it so that way I had a more recent photo of the kids and I in the bathroom, because there's a big gap between that bottom photo where it's black and white and it looks like my son has a shirt over his face, which he does. So there's a big gap between that photo and then the color one. So I'm glad that I switched it out so that way I could have more recent photos, at least 2 new recent photos, because like I said, I'm not in the bathroom that much with the kids anymore. I also added in comma because I wanted to make sure I'm grammatically correct, and a few other sticker phrases to the photo. And now I can go ahead and add my journaling. And I said that getting the kids to bed has always been quite the process. There's many steps involved, and for many years, my daughter sat on the counter while my son sat on a stool or stood on a stool, and we all worked together on brushing our teeth. It was hilarious, sometimes frustrating, especially for this tired mom. Yet looking back, I'm so thankful for all of these bedtime shenanigans, which I am, because it was definitely hilarious, especially, in those younger years with little baby on the counter and big brother trying to make her laugh. It was hilarious. And then the next step is to journal on the other one. And for this one, I just said I would help the kids learn how to brush their teeth, check their teeth. And there was also many years where I had to cut my hand and get some water so they could rinse, because my kids never wanted to use little paper cups. And that's fine. As moms, we do a lot for our kids, right? And then also teaching them how to spit in the sink and not all over the mirror. And that was always a hard thing to do. I think even now that is a hard thing to do because my mirrors are still very messy. I said that I'm thankful that I'm here for my kids during the bedtime fun, the laughs, the stall tactics, the grumps, the conversations, and all the in-between. It's pure joy in these everyday moments. So that's that one. And then the last one, I talk about the current season that we are in right now. And I wrote that sometimes I check my daughter's teeth, and the three of us are rarely in the bathroom in the evening anymore. My daughter goes to bed a lot earlier than my son. And of course, my teenager handles his own bathroom stuff solo. And it's just like lately he showed me a new hairstyle, or I have to help him with something, like if he asks me to help him with something. And as a parent, bedtime can be all the shenanigans, but it's also an end of another piece of the beautiful and messy everyday life. Bedtime is usually a pain, but so worth it with the seasons changing so quickly. So that's my journaling, and I hope you enjoyed me sharing my journaling. It's really a special story that I have down now, and I hope that you enjoyed. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you're new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.